Epic Games introduced the block showcase area in its Battle Royale map to Fortnite back in 2000, updating as an in-game way to highlight the exemplary community creations made with the game's and the creative mode. But one featured build has been pulled from the showcase after users found some questionable content in one room. It's a very slight bump in the road for Epic's push for more user-created content in its still mega-popular game Fortnite, and a reminder to other devs of the additional moderation needed when features that highlight user-made content are brought into the mix. As spotted by Polygon, the mysterious mention submission was removed shortly after it showed up in the showcase space, and it placed with a noted suspicion. That swap came after a Reddit user pointed out that an overturned chair and hanging rope in the basement of the mansion seemed to depict the scene of a suicide. In an earlier version of the map, shared by its creator Leaks on Twitter, the setup included a character model attached to the rope, but the version that briefly showed up on the blog depicted only the rope and overturned chair. Epic has not made any sort of comment on this specific removal, though Leaks shared what they say is a conversation with an Epic dev on Twitter about the map. Bunny outlined 8 distinct design pillars when it set out to create what would become Destiny 2 X-Player vs. Everything vs. Player mode Gambit. But the only reason the mode became what it is today is because the dev team knew that breaking rules can sometimes be as important as making them. That was the big takeaway from Peter Surrid's talk on the creation of Gambit during the Game Developers Conference this year. A talk that highlighted how many of the elements that make Gambit work as well as it does would not have come to be without a great deal of iteration and some healthy disregard for the rules. As Gambit is today, 2 teams of 4 players are dropped into 2 identical but separate arenas, fight through waves of enemies, collect the motes enemies drop, and stockpile enough motes to summon the round's final boss. Dying with motes means they are lost for good, but depositing a large amount at once can send additional complications over to the enemy team. It's a sort of strategic race between the 2 sides to see who can pull this off first. And there are a number of ways teams can complicate matters for their competitors throughout the game as well. The elevator pitch for Gambit was Hello Firefight meets Super Puzzle Fighter, explains Sarah. They wanted to make an endgame regional pay players, equivalent to the trials of the 9 competitive mode that experienced PvP players had to turn to. Gambit was meant to have elements of both halves of Destiny's gameplay, but not enough PvP to scare off pay players was our hope. It had to be something with enough variability to be replayable and fit into Destiny 2 as other weekly rituals. Compared to the pay activities Bunny had already worked on, it needed to feel more replayable than strike missions, and have longer legs than the wave-based Prison of Elders activity from the first Destiny. Knowing when to back away from lofty design goals, the team laid out that they do like 2 teams to compete against each other in 2 separate but identical arenas. But the prototypes they built by sticking to those pillars struggled to capture the competitiveness that they were going for in the activity. If I cannot see the other team, why do I care about them? We had not come up with an answer to this, and it was a really critical question. Some early versions had view screens on Windows players could use to see the other team, but nothing quite worked. Looking back over their design pillars, Sarah says it became apparent that we did not have a good answer for why cannot I shoot the other team outside of lofty design goals. so the no direct player interaction pillar was cut and playtest feedback showed that Gambit was instantly better for it, because of how the tour maps were set up, letting a player from one team bravely invade the enemy side as a PvP threat was easy to implement, and Sarah says that having a human threat radically changed the drama and tension. It took some balancing to find out how often players should be able to invade and work out the risk-reward balance for doing so. But once that balance was struck, invasions became one of Gambit's defining features. We wanted to encourage pay players who win deep coding with this mode to try invasion. But it was unfortunately easy to make invading feel too risky for inexperienced PvPers. After some tweaking, it was decided that an invader would drop 3 modes if they died mid-invade, because while the team wanted taking down an enemy combatant to feel like an accomplishment, setting the mode reward too high made it too intimidating for the players they were making Gambit for. Ironically, we succeeded by failing, says Garrett. We did not find a way to make the players care about the other team without direct player interaction, and it turns out that was the secret sauce that really makes Gambit stand out. Finding solutions in plain sight, with the PvP spirit of the PvP mode captured. The next challenge was to fine-tune Gambit's card loop. It was a mode meant for pay players, so the objective of killing waves of enemies was a given. Introducing modes added an extra level of complexity on top of just a basic wave clear. Collecting and banking a set amount of modes before the other team was how games would be won, and adding a timer to how long those modes would stick around in the level helped bunny fast players to unturtle and stay on the move. Instead of just killing, now you are constantly cycling through that loop. It makes for a much more interesting mode. Incorporated reason, a decrease in the number of modes an enemy would drop gave designers more balancing tools to play with, and, as an added bonus, the little explosion of bright rewards from a freshly downed enemy gave players a rewarding dopamine rush. Depositing modes in a central bank let teams and blocker enemies over to the other side, a concept that was essentially borrowed directly from Super Puzzle Fighter and prevents players from depositing modes until the enemies have been cleared. But the simple goal of just quickly depositing modes did not quite feel as satisfying and fell short of the comebacks always possible pillar. Something was still missing, said Sarah, ending a round by filling a bank often felt anticlimactic. The end snuck up on you, and it was hard for a trailing team to make a comeback. In the final version of Gambit, disputing modes is a means to an end. Players bank 75 modes to summon a boss-level, primeval enemy that requires teamwork and strategy to take down, making for an intense end to a match. Originally, however, promos were only a tie-breaking mechanic that popped up when both sides failed to fill their banks in time, making that battle the climax of each round, gave players more situations to prepare for outside of just a mob clear, brought the whole team together at the very end of the round to all round made Gambit matches more exciting and watchable. We realized that the answer to our problem had been hidden in the game all along, and we just had not played with it enough. By the end of it all, the Gambit team had created something that Bunny leadership dubbed too much fun to lock away as an endgame activity, leading the team to knock down two of its original design pillars. So, outside of knowing when to back away from your original design decisions, Sarah offers two more pieces of advice. Focus on the things players are already doing. Simple is always better, and using existing player habits to craft New experiences makes fun something that is simple to pick up and understand subconsciously. Players do not always know what they want. No one was asking Barney to make a web vote, he says. Sometimes it's good to surprise and delight them with something they did not even know they wanted. This interview is part of our Road to EF series. You can find the rest by clicking here. Plot pieces an experience in shifting narrative, and found a tale filled with looming dread and mistrust in reality, as the player explores three threads that connect in a nightmare world. Developers of the Novel Award and Excellence in Audio nominated title to PARTOPICDAVELOPERSGENESSICLE Harvey, Chris Brown, and Doug of arbitrary metric that come about creating that broken sense of trust in reality through sound and story. How they figured out which pieces of shattered narrative to show the player, and creating an emotional journey through games. Plot pieces nominated for the NUOVLAWAD and Excellence in Audio categories. Harvey, I am Jessica Harvey. My main roles were programming and putting together everything that player sees characters,